Former Councilman Sohn, Teaneck resident, to provide some context on Ordinance 22, which authorizes $11.7 million in borrowing. We already have about $50 million in bonds and $22 million in notes. This would bring up the total closer to 83. We'll be paying off about $3.5 million in bonds, which are mostly very, very low interest rate bonds, closer to 1%. And these are likely to end up being notes at closer to 4 or 4.5 or 5%. But also, we need to look ahead. There's a $100 million capital plan, and there's $88 million in borrowing in the years ahead. With 5% as a set aside with some grants, this could be $70 to $75 million in borrowing in the years ahead. We could see by the year 2030 that we have debt totaling $150 million. And not only would that debt likely be higher in total and double the amount that we currently have, but it would likely reach a point where the cost of financing that debt would be double to 2.5 times the cost we have now. The other consideration is that this impacts the budget and the budget increases. The budget increase of 7% for this year, as the manager reported, will be about $323 per household. Next year is estimated by the CFO at 14.4%, about another $700. 2027 is estimated at 16.7%, another $800. That's an $1,800 increase to the average household, no matter where you live here in Teaneck, whether you live in the Northeast, West Englewood, Phelps Park, Country Club. That's a very, very, very big increase. And the question is, how are we going to pay for that? I'd love to have all these things, but the question of where we come up with the money to pay for that, and are we going to use the township taxpayers as a piggy bank, is a critical question. And I think the number one question is, what is the strategy to pay for this? How are we going to go forward building up a debt profile that is significantly larger than what we have now, and with budget increases of about 40% between this year and the next 2 years? My number one suggestion is come up with a plan. We need to get outside input from the bond council. We need to get outside input from the auditor and come up with an overall holistic big picture plan, working with our professionals, the manager and the CFO, and coming up with a plan that says which things can we afford to pay? Which things should we be burdening the taxpayers for? My question is not, and I think the question this council needs to ask is not, which do you want to take off? It's how can we pay for these things? And as a taxpayer, you need to be looking not just at me,